She said, I had my 4th kid in the car, so you're lucky that you made it to the hospital. Hey riders, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rosy Hernandez, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my 4th baby's birth story. Now, I wanted to share this with you guys because I don't know why, but for some reason I thought that I knew how it was gonna go, like the birth and stuff. Not necessarily like exactly how it was gonna go, but I just thought I had an idea because I've had 3 other kids, which really in hindsight, I should have known that I really have no idea how it's gonna go because each birth and pregnancy is different. But I don't know, I just thought like, you know, this is my 4th kid, I got this, like I know what's up. Everything happened so quick. And the reason why I want to share this with you is because you might be on your 1st child or 2nd, 3rd, 4th, maybe even 5th, and you just don't know how it's gonna go. And like, I feel like if you hear other people's birth stories, then you kind of can prepare a little bit better, even though you're never really prepared for what's to come. But the biggest thing that happened with this birth, and I just want you to imagine this, if you're not planning on getting an epidural, which I wasn't with my first 3 kids, okay? But I did. Now with this one, I was like, I'm definitely getting an epidural, and like, I'm just gonna do it, I'm not gonna fight it, because I always say I'm not gonna get one, and then at the very end when I'm like 7 or 8 centimeters, I end up getting one. It's like, what's the point of going through all that pain, being at the finish line, and then you end up getting the epidural? Well, I don't know, I kind of like doing that though. But long story short, with this kid, I was not able to get the epidural.
What?
Even though I thought that I would be getting it and I wanted to get it, I actually couldn't get it. It was too late. So I had to have the baby completely natural, like no type of medicine, literally no pain meds, no Tylenol, no nothing. All natural, what you call all natural, okay? I barely made it to the hospital. So just imagine that, okay? I just want you to imagine that, like, oh my gosh, you think you're gonna get an epidural, you think you're gonna get some help with the pain, but then there's no time, like you have to give birth without it. So that's what happened to me. So get your coffee, you know, just sit down, relax. This baby Jade, she is my 4th baby now. She's a month old, so this is still kind of fresh in my head, this whole birth experience. Okay, so the plan was to have my husband and my mom there at the birth because they only let you have 2 people right now ever since COVID. My oldest daughter did want to be there, but I said no to her because I wanted my mom there, and then I just felt weird. She's 19 years old and I'm like, I don't know if you should be there. But she's like, come on, Mom. But anyway, I said no. I was like overdue. I was due on a Monday and like the baby was just not coming. So I went in Friday prior to my due date, which was on Monday. He checked me, I was 2 centimeters. Then I went in on Wednesday, it was almost like a week later. And then she checked me and she was like, you're 3 centimeters. So that means it is moving along, something's happening, you know? And she's like, I'm gonna schedule you for an induction for the following Thursday, just in case like the baby doesn't come. She has to come naturally. I just didn't want to get induced. She made the appointment, whatever. And then my husband was like, I really hope that this baby comes over the weekend because he wanted to get rest. And then he didn't want to really miss work. I'm not that like he wants to go to work or whatever, but we run a business, so he has to go to work. So then I'm just laughing because my husband cracks me up when it comes to like the last birth. He didn't get any rest and it was miserable. And so with this birth, he was like so adamant about not being exhausted during the birth. It was pretty cute. But anyway, Friday rolls along and it's Friday night and I see something in the toilet. I see like, oh, I'm having discharge. And I look and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm having some discharge. So I told him, you know, I feel like a lot of pain, but I don't know if it's labor, but I did have some discharge. And he's like, so you think it's happening tonight? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, okay, I gotta get sleep. And he just like passes out. Like it was really funny. Like he literally was like, I gotta get rest. And he passed out. And I was like, okay. So he went to sleep, and then Isabella, my 8-year-old, she slept with us in the bed. And I just felt like I couldn't sleep because of Isabella. Long story short, I ended up falling asleep. And during my dream, I promise you, I was dreaming that I was having contractions. Like in my dream, I was having contractions. One of them woke me up. It was like 5 in the morning. It just woke me up and I was like, oh my gosh, they're real. They're really happening. Like, this is not a dream. This is real. So then I woke up and I couldn't go back to sleep because of the pain. It was really, really bad. So I got up and I was like, is this labor? Am I in labor right now? Because like, I really couldn't tell. I went to the bathroom and then I was like, okay, if I am in labor and I'm gonna have this baby, like, I want to shave my legs. I literally thought to get in the shower to shave my legs, and then the contraction would come and I'm like, no, I can't get in the shower. That's what I thought. I was like, no, I can't shave my legs right now. And then I started brushing my teeth. And then I was like, okay, do I wait? Like, what do I do? What else did I think? I thought I had enough time to, like, I don't know, do something else. But every time a contraction would come, it would get stronger. And I was like, okay, I need to time these contractions because it feels like they're coming really quick. So I got this app and I started to track it. If you want to know the name, I'll leave the link in the description. Comment down below, let me know. So I started tracking, like, okay, a contraction starting, this is how long it's going for. And then I started to see, I was like, oh crap. It was like every 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes at most. So by 5:20, I was like, I need to wake up my husband because like I feel like I'm gonna give birth. I look at him and I'm like, he was sleeping so peacefully. He's just like knocked out, and I felt bad. I was like, should I wake him up or should I not? Should I just wait like another hour? And then as I'm thinking this, I get another contraction, and I like you have to breathe. Like, I had to breathe through that contraction. I was like, there's no way. Like, I have to wake him up. So I tap him and he opens his eyes and he's like, time? And I was like, yes, it's time. And he gets up and he's just like quick, like goes in the closet, gets everything. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is actually happening. Like, he was ready to go. And then I'm like stopping, I'm trying to get things, and every 3 minutes I'm stopping and breathing. So he knew that it was like real, like, and we were ready to go. In the midst of all this, you can't think, you're just like, you're in pain. So I go to my mom. She's like downstairs staying with us. She's with my dad. My dad happened to be in town. Like, they happened to be there. And I'm like, I'm going to the hospital. Like, you guys, you should leave. Like, I'm going to call his mom. So David called his mom to come to take care of the girls so that my mom can then go to the hospital and be with us during labor. So she's like, okay, I'll be there. I was like, great. We leave to the hospital. And by this time, I think it's like 5:45. We get to the hospital at 6:05 in the morning. And they're just like, you know, just super nonchalant. The nurse is like, oh yeah, we'll see. You might go back home. And I'm just like, you are not sending me back home. I know I'm gonna deliver today. Like, first of all, I'm overdue. Second of all, I know that I'm in labor. Like, I felt like death. This is your 4th kid? Okay, so they're like taking it more serious. And she hasn't even checked to see how dilated I am. And next thing you know, I'm like telling David, like, David, I feel like I'm dying. Like, I literally feel like I'm dying. And I was like, I'm so afraid that I'm not gonna be able to get the epidural. I was like, what if I can't get the epidural and like I have to deliver naturally? And he's like, no, don't worry about it. And you know, and he's like, if anybody could do it, it's you, Rosie. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Next thing you know, the nurse, she's like, checks my cervix, and she's like, okay, she's fully effaced, and she's 6 centimeters. I was like, 6? I'm 6 centimeters already? She's like, yeah. She's like, you're like 7. I was like, oh, it happened so quick. Like, I just got to the hospital. So then I'm like, I need an epidural. And she's like, oh, it just happens to be that you came right when they're switching shifts. So like, he can't come right now. You're gonna have to wait till 7. And I'm just like, what? Like, they're changing shifts? Are you kidding me? Like, this is Kaiser, by the way, okay? And I just can't believe that that's a thing. That like, I got there at the wrong time and the guy is changing shifts with a different anesthesiologist or whatever, and like, sorry, you're gonna have to wait or you might not be able to get it. Like, I'm just like, what? So that was the reality. And no one tells you. I mean, I guess, I don't know if your hospital would be different, But I sure did not see that coming. Then I thought, okay, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get it. I had joked about this, by the way, to a few people, like, oh yeah, watch me not be able to get the epidural, like when I actually want to get it. And then, yeah, that's what happened. Then all of a sudden they're like, okay, she's like I'm like, just breathing. I could barely talk. I'm like, and I'm making it look easy, okay, ladies? They think like, okay, she's cool because I can really take the pain, but I am dying inside. I'm literally dying. I feel like I'm gonna die, and I'm just taking this pain, and I'm just like, I don't know what's gonna happen to me. Like, you just feel like, can I do this? Like, you don't know if you can actually get through it. Even though you know you can, it's a weird thing, but like, I was just like, am I gonna be able to do this? And of course my husband was very encouraging. It was just so sweet, and he was with me the whole time, just like every step of the way, so I really appreciate him for that. But yeah, so next thing you know, they're like waiting for my COVID test to come back before they could put me in the delivery room. And the nurse that was in charge, the new one that came in, she was like, I'm taking her in the one where it's like COVID safe or whatever, because it looks like she's about to deliver. So they bring me into this room. This nurse comes to me, this midwife, and she's like, she was the sweetest person, I swear. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, thank goodness that she was there for me. It was like an angel that came to be there for me, you know? She said, I had my 4th kid in the car, so you're lucky that you made it to the hospital. And I was like, okay. Like, whoa, okay, yeah, thanks for making me feel better. We go in the room, and then they're all looking at me like, just have this baby natural. Like, just, because I'm like, where's the anesthesiologist? Can he come? Like, where is he? And it's like 6:30 by this time, 6:45. And they're just looking at me like, you can do this. Like, they keep telling me, you could do this, you could do this. I'm just like dying, like, I don't know if I can. And I'm like 8.5 centimeters or 9, I think, at this point. And then she said, so with your past births, did they come out quick? And I was like, yeah, I pushed like within a minute. They were out, a minute or two. And she's like, okay, this is gonna be quick. She's like, if I break your water, she'll come down, we'll coach you how to push, and she's gonna come quick. And I was like, they're just like encouraging me to not wait for this guy and to just do it. I was like, did you guys have your kids naturally? And they're like, yeah, like we had 1 or 2 naturally, whatever. They each had multiple kids. And so then I was like, oh my gosh, okay, if they could do it, I could do it. Like, I've always wanted to have a baby natural, but I just never did. But it was just kind of scary. I don't know, it's a weird feeling. Then I was like, okay, fine, let's just do it. And then in walks the anesthesiologist. It's like probably 6:50 or whatever. He was like, I'm here, and I'm like, right when I had said I'll do it, they looked at him like, oh my gosh, like we just convinced her. But he ends up telling me like, listen, these are the risks, right? He starts going down the risks, and I'm like, they didn't sound too good, even though I've done this before. And then he's like, there is a chance that while I'm putting this on you, you might be giving birth during me trying to put the epidural in you. And if that happens, that's fine, we'll get through it. And I'm like, what is the whole point of getting this thing? If like I'm gonna feel it, then why would I get the epidural? You know, so all these things are going through my head. And then I'm looking at them, they're looking at me like, girl, you could do this. And then my husband is looking at me like, ooh, what are you gonna do? Like, this is a big decision. So I look at my husband and I'm just like, I don't know what to do, you know, like, he's like, it seems like they want you to not get the epidural. And he's like, and I think you could do it, but whatever you want to do, like, it's up to you. And so I just had to take like a moment and just feel, I don't know how to describe it, but it took like a few seconds for me to like check in with my body, check in with my baby, check in with God, and just like all at once, just like know that I could do it. Like, this is something I could do. And my husband was there. My mom was nowhere to be. I don't know where the heck my mom was. Actually, I know now. She was at home or on her way, I think, to the hospital. She thought I would be there all day, which that didn't happen. But I just like, I had to make a decision. For sure, I made the best decision that I could make. And I said, okay, no, I don't want it. I don't want that. And the guy's like, okay. So he walks out, decision is made. She's like, okay, this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna break your water. The baby's gonna come down. You're gonna push her down. We're gonna tell you when to push. Have you ripped before? I said, no. She said, okay. When I tell you, like, you're gonna feel like you wanna push, like really bad, but you're gonna have to hold back. You're gonna take little breaths and I'm gonna say, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Even though you feel like you wanna push, it's coming out and you wanna push, you're gonna have to hold it. And then little by little, you'll be pushing so that the baby could come out. And I'm just like, okay. And then, so I'm getting all these directions from her, from this other lady, and everyone's being super helpful. And then I look at David and he's looking at me like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're doing this. But he's like holding my hand, like, so we're doing this together kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, great. So then, yeah, she breaks my water. The baby comes down. Now, at first, I guess I wasn't pushing right. I was like pushing. The lady's like, you're pushing into your face. Don't push into your face. Push down. All that energy, all the pressure, you gotta push it down. It's like this weird thing, but you have to like almost analyze it and push your breath down. So I was like, so then you have to like really push the baby downwards and out. Like you'll know how to do it when you're doing it. It's a weird thing, but you can't be like all in your face. It has to go down. So next thing you know, she's coming, and then I felt the ring of fire is what they call it, the ring of fire. So down there, it feels like a burning sensation. Like I can't even describe it. It's like so painful. And you're just like, oh my gosh, make this stop right now. And that's basically when they're down there. So doctor, she was telling me like, okay, now hold it. And you're like, ah, because you want to push. You just want to push. But I was like, I am not tearing. I am not gonna, I'm gonna hold it. So I had to like hold it and then push, hold it. It's like little breaths and push. And then you hold it and then you push. And then it's like, if you want more details on that, where I could really get descriptive and like, you're like, I don't want to tear. I want to do it naturally. How did you do it? Give me tips. Like, how did it go? I can really get into this. I'm not really getting it too into it, but if you want that video, comment down below. If I get enough comments of you guys asking and a thumbs up on that, then I will do that for you. For purposes of this video, yeah. So she came, and the next thing you know, like I just felt that she came out. Like you just feel this relief, and she puts her on my chest. I'm like, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I did it. I did it. Ah! Like I freaking did it. I did it all natural. I had a baby all natural. Literally no pain medication, no nothing. There was no time for anything. So she puts her on my chest and I'm just like, I can't believe it. And I look at David and he's like filled with emotion, of course, because like it was really nice. It was nice. And I felt great after. The thing is though, because it was my fourth child, I started to kind of bleed out. Like I was bleeding a lot, and then all of a sudden like they started to react and they were like, oh my gosh, we gotta get her uterus to contract, because like this is my fourth kid, so it takes longer for the uterus to contract. So it was kind of scary. David said he saw like the largest puddle of blood ever, and I was like, thank God I didn't see that. I would have freaked out. But the nurse, she had to like put in a catheter in my bladder to get all the urine out to help with the contraction, and it was so painful. I was like, ah, like oh my gosh, like it was so painful. And then so it was almost more painful after the birth. No, then no, it was really painful. And then after that, she had to like stick something up my anal to like some type of medication to make my uterus contract. And then there was a lady who had to put medicine in my IV to make my uterus contract. So then all of a sudden I feel like I'm having a second baby. I'm like, is there a second baby in there? Because like, why do I feel like I'm having these contractions again? And they're like, no, we're trying to get the bleeding to stop. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, save my life, please. Like, I don't, yeah, I'll take the pain because I don't want to go out like that. So, so then, like, I'm in pain. I have the baby, and I'm just like, David, can you take the baby? So he took the baby, and we're trying to get that situated. But, like, honestly, all in all, Would I do it again? Yes, I would. I would rather have the baby naturally, just because the recovery time is so much faster without the epidural than with it. Like, I felt like I was not back to normal, because that's extreme, but I felt so much better after giving birth naturally than I did with my other 3 births. Like, in terms of recovery, it was just night and day. And then, of course, after delivering and all that, I was like, I need pain medication. So it took them like an hour to get me some pain medication. But once I started taking pain medication, I felt so much better. And yeah, it was just like a crazy experience. Like, I've heard that the more kids you have, the sooner they come and the quicker you have them. But I was overdue, so I was like, how am I overdue? This is my 4th kid. It didn't make any sense, right? So like, you think you know what's gonna happen, but you really don't. Like with my first kid, I had her like a week and a half early. My second kid, I had her like maybe 6 days early, 5 days early. And then I thought my 3rd kid would be like super early, but then they had to induce. And then with this one, she was late. So it's just like the weirdest thing. Like, you just never know what's gonna happen. Like, seriously, you just don't know. Even with the birth, like, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I barely made it to the hospital. If I would have got there an hour and a half later or whatever, like, who knows if I would have had the baby in the car or at the house or whatnot. But like, yeah, it's interesting how that happens, how those things happen. But yeah, that's my birth story. Comment in the comment section down below. Let me know, how did your birth go? Like, I'm interested to know, have you had your 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th kid? Are you expecting? Like, how do you think it's gonna go? Like, honestly, you can plan ahead and think that you're gonna have this perfect birth story, but you just don't know what's gonna happen. That's what happened with me. I was a savage for sure. Okay, I will admit that I was a savage, because I did not get the epidural. I had my baby all natural, and now I can say that. I literally can say that. And yes, there are plenty of savage moms out there who have their babies natural. And kudos to all of you, and kudos to all of you who do it with the epidural anyway, because like, having a baby is no joke, with an epidural or without it. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys want to know anything else, let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Besitos.